Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear viewers, welcome to another episode of The Scattered Perals. That is the verses that we select for you, the best selected verses in different subjects. And our subject today still about who is the believer and what are the attributes of the believer in the Quran. We begin with reciting some verses about the believers and the successful believer. Allah the Almighty says, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ إِلَّا عَلَى أَزْوَاجِهِمْ أَوْ مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُهُمْ فَإِنَّهُمْ غَيْرُ مَلُومِينَ فَمَنِ ابْتَغَى وَرَاءَ ذَلِكَ فَأُولَئِكَ هُمُ الْعَادُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ وَعَهْدِهِمْ رَاعُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَلَى صَلَوَاتِهِمْ يُحَافِظُونَ أُولَئِكَ هُمُ الْوَارِثُونَ الَّذِينَ يَرِثُونَ الْفِرْدَوْسَ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. Translation is, certainly will the believers have succeeded. That means certainly they are the successful ones. Who are those? They who are during their prayer humbly submissive, and they who turn away from ill speech, and they who are observant of zakah, charity, and they who guard their private parts, that means lest they fall in fornication, except from their wives or their right hand possess, for indeed they will not be blamed. But whoever seeks beyond that, then those are the transgressors. And they who are to their trusts and their promises attentive, and they who carefully maintain their prayers, those are the inheritors who will inherit Al-Firdaus, which is the highest place in paradise, and they will abide therein eternally. Al-Mu'minun, verses from 1 till 11. So let us focus on those beautiful verses that give the attributes of the believer. First, the believer is one who fears. He has khushu', awareness in his prayer when he performs the prayer to Allah. And this is a very important thing in the prayer, because we know there is an enemy. And that enemy, in that very prayer, he is a thief. He was described by the Prophet to be a thief because he wants to steal as much as he can from your prayer. He knows that he cannot stop you from performing the prayer to Allah. Therefore, he has to do something else. He comes into your prayer trying to step up between you and your Lord. And we know that when we perform the prayer, we are standing before the Lord Almighty. That is why the Prophet saw a person being unattentive to his prayer while he is praying. The Prophet said to him, "Don't you fear your Lord? أَلَا تَتَّقِي رَبَّكَ? أَلَا تُحْسِنُ صَلَاتَكَ?" Shouldn't you be improving your prayer? Shouldn't you be fearing your Lord? When a person among you is standing in his prayer, he is, in a matter of fact, speaking to his Lord. So let him observe, be attentive to the way he speaks to his Lord. The Prophet said, "Pray the way you see me praying." This may imply to how the Prophet used to be standing, going down, the actions of the members, but this is not the only point. The heart of the Prophet ﷺ used to be active in the prayer. And our hearts should be active in our prayer, just like the actions we give in our members. The heart is one of the members. In a matter of fact, the heart is the king of the whole members. As the Prophet told us, that the members show humility to the heart every day, calling the heart and saying to the heart, be straight. Because our straightness is based on your straightness. If you are straight, we're going to be straight. If you are deviant, we're going to be deviant. That means if the heart is not sound, as a result, the actions of the person will not be righteous and sound. When the Prophet, peace be with him, told us that pray like the way you see me praying, he was described that he was heard with a certain noise. People used to hear a certain noise with the Prophet, peace be with him, when he performs the prayer to Allah. Just like the container boiling. When the container boils, it makes a certain noise or a sound. This is the same thing that the Prophet was having when he is praying. So, when he says, pray like the way you see me praying, we should be also including the attentiveness and the fear in our prayer when we perform the prayer to Allah. Also another point, the Prophet said, you will not be attaining of your prayer except what you had been attentive with. That means if you are not attentive, or if you are attentive 10%, you will be attaining 1% of your prayer. If you are attentive 50%, you will be attaining 50%. I'm not going to say if you are attentive 0%, you're going to be rewarding 0%. I hope you will be getting something at least. Also, they shun or they avoid ill speech, such as backbiting, such as trying to establish or kindle fire between the brothers by inciting one against the other. These are ill speech. Not only this, but speaking unreasonable or meaningless speech. This is also included. You have to fill your tongue with a good speech, something that you'll be rewarded for. I remember what Abu Bakr said. He said, be careful of this. This will cause you to the worst consequences, the tongue. Either you can use the tongue to achieve salvation, or you may use your tongue in order to involve yourself and indulge yourself with punishment, especially those who backbite the others. Biting the others in the assemblies became something like the fruits of the assembly. People backbite one another. The Prophet passed by 2 graves, and Allah made him observe the punishment they are encountering in their graves. The Prophet said one of them used to be backbiting his brothers. Backbiting one's brother caused this man to be punished in his grave for the backbiting. And also they are observant for the charity, and they guard their private parts. That means avoiding fornication. The Prophet, peace be with him, said, the one who fornicates does not fornicate at the moment of fornication. He is not at that moment, at that very moment, he is not a believer. What does this mean? Does it mean that the one who commits adultery is disbeliever? This is not what the Prophet meant. It was explained in another narration that his faith is over him, shading him. His faith is shading him, is still close to him, but it's not in him at that moment. The question is why? The answer is, At that very moment when a person fornicates, he does not want to observe that Allah is observing what he is doing. He doesn't want to remember this. He wants to ignore this, because if he is a believer and he keeps remembering that Allah is watching him, he's not going to be enjoying what he's doing. So at that moment, he wants to be a disbeliever. He wants to ignore Allah's watching over him. This is a beautiful describing from the Prophet, that the one who fornicates, at that very moment of fornication, when he is fornicating, he is not a believer. And when he repents to Allah, his faith, iman, returns to him. It is also a part of iman that you should be doing to the people the thing that you expect them that they should be doing to you. But those who fornicate, they don't do that. They do the bad thing to the people, expecting that people should be doing them good. But this is selfishness. That is why when a person came to the Prophet and said to him, "O Prophet, this man was excited and he was complaining. The excessiveness of exciting that, and he wants to do something." He came to the Prophet and said to him, "O Prophet, allow me to fornicate." Well, the companions were angry with this, and they said, "What?" So they were about maybe to beat him up, or because they thought it was something unethical to come and ask the Prophet something like this. But the Prophet, with his great wisdom and good morality, he brought the person and he says to him, "Tell me, do you accept it for your mother?" He said, "No." The Prophet said, "And the others do not accept it to be done to their mothers. Do you accept it for your sister?" He said, "No." He said, "And the others do not accept it to be done to their own sisters. Do you accept it to be done to your daughter?" He said, "No." He said, "And the others do not accept it to be done to their own daughters." Then the Prophet put his hand on the chest of the person and he said, "O Allah, calm his desire and protect him from the evil work from fornication." The man said, "After the Prophet touched my breast, I never felt the need of any kind of fornication." The topic did not finish. Be with us after the break. Insha'Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Please, brothers and sisters, in particular brothers, husbands, divorce is the last resort.
Even when I was given the topic, the art of divorce, I was thinking, why are we talking about a divorce?
As they say in management, do you take serious decisions when you are angry? No one is taking a very serious decision in his life, maybe in his business, while you are angry.
A divorce happening every 6 minutes.
We are not talking about enjoying the divorce, but we are talking about certain steps to be followed in order to avoid divorce, or minimize the possibility of divorce, or minimize the consequences of divorce. Any divorce taking place have many ill effects. So we would like to minimize those ill effects.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear viewers, welcome back to our episode, The Scattered Perals. We analyze that Allah the Almighty said here, those are the inheritors who will inherit Al-Firdaus. What does it mean, inherit? Do they inherit someone else? Was someone else supposed to be at their place, then things have been changed? As an answer, I remember where the Prophet, peace be with him, said concerning the person who will be receiving punishment or be giving glad tidings. There is something that explains this. As for the believer, when he will be successfully answering the questions that are addressed to him by the angels, they will be saying to him, look down. To the believer, look down. This is your seat in hell. Now I did not finish, or the narration did not finish here. This is your place in hell if you were a disbeliever. If you were a disbeliever. Now look at your seat up, and he'll be able to see his seat in paradise. And it will be said to him that this is your seed that you inherited since you are a believer. And the vice versa. To be said to the disbeliever, look up. And he'll be able to see his seat in paradise. And it will be said to him, this was supposed to be your seat if you were a believer. But now you look down, and you'll be looking down. And it will be said to him, this is your place since you were a disbeliever. What does this mean? Why it has to be so? Because that will be for more regret to him, since he was disbeliever. He ignored Allah. He ignored Allah's constitution. He ignored Allah's orders. Then that will be increasing his regret. It will be increasing his sadness and grieveness that he lost the chance. After it was a big period of time for him to reflect, to make up his mind, and to follow Allah. Well, we're still alive. We can do it. We can make it up if we lost something. So this is what occurs to me, the meaning of yarithuna, they will be inheriting. It implies to being inheriting someone who is supposed to be taking your place. But every disbeliever has left his own seat for the believer. And every believer has given his seat to the disbeliever. Those are the attributes of the successful believer, as we find in those beautiful verses. They feel fearful, or their hearts feel fearful the moment they perform the prayer to Allah. They avoid ill speech. They give the alms, and giving the alms is an evidence that you believe in the hereafter. Because giving the alms means you're going to lose something. Since you believe in the hereafter, you'll be knowing that when you give something, you will be given it multiplied, much doubled and doubled at the day of judgment. So you're giving something in order to be given something more at the day of judgment. They give the alms, they avoid fornication, and they are attentive to their trust. They are trustworthy. And that also reminded me what the Prophet, peace be with him, said, that the believer is, let me say it in Arabic, al-mu'min man aminahu an-nas. The believer is the one whom people trust. He is trustworthy, and people trust him. And this was one of the attributes of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be with him, as-sadiq al-amin. He used to be described, before he declared his prophethood, that he is the truthful, the trustworthy. Yet, after he declared his prophethood, they started to say to him, you are a liar. But before, he used to be well known to all of them that he is the trustworthy, the truthful one. So the Prophet said that the truly believer is the one whom people trust. They are secure about him. They feel secure about him. Also, another description for the Muslim, that the Muslim whom the people are secure from the harm of his tongue, the harm of his hand. This is the truly Muslim. And also the Prophet, peace be with him, said, Wallahi, he is not a believer. Now we want to know why the Prophet is swearing that there are some people who are supposed to be believers, but they are not believers. Wallahi la yu'min. Wallahi la yu'min, Wallahi la yu'min. And he said it 3 times. Who's he? And the Prophet was asked, who is he? The Prophet replied, the one who spend the night, that means satisfied, with full stomach, while his neighbor is hungry. He's not a believer. The one who spends the night satisfied while his neighbor is hungry. He'll be responsible. He'll be held responsible for this because he was not... There are 2 sins that he committed. The first sin, that his neighbor is hungry. But this is the second sin. The first sin, that he was not maintaining his neighbor. He was not maintaining his neighbor. And being good to your neighbor, religion has nothing to do with this. I mean, you should not be considering the matter of religion. Is your neighbor Muslim or not Muslim? Irrespective to his cult or his religion or his faith, he's your neighbor, and you have to show righteousness to your neighbor. And that reminds me what was narrated by Al-Bukhari in his book Al-Adab al-Mufrad, where Abdullah ibn Amr said to his server, when you finish preparing the food, take some of them, or some of the food, to our neighbor, the Jewish. So some people said, the Jewish, you're going to give him? He said, yes, a Jew, I give him. He's my neighbor. Because the Prophet, peace be with him, said, Jibreel still reminding me about the necessity of being good to my neighbor, until I thought that he will be my inheritor. He is going to be my heir. I thought, because he kept reminding me about being good to my neighbor. This is Islam. So this is the trade with Allah. And that trade, this is the best trade with Allah. People are always after the things that cause them, that gives them or let them, make them attaining success. And this is the utmost and the highest success. That you will be a truly believer, and you'll be the successful believer. Begin with this important thing that the Prophet was, this was the last thing that the Prophet said before he died. What was the thing that the Prophet said before he died? He said, As-salah. As-salah. Ittaqu Allah fima malakat aymanukum. The prayer, the prayer, the prayer. These were the last words that came out of the Prophet's mouth the moment he started to die. The prayer. Fear Allah for those who are under your authority. That means your bondmen, your bondwoman. Take care of them. Don't torture them. Don't humiliate them. Don't lay on them, as the Prophet said, don't lay on them the thing that they cannot bear to do. But if you lay on them something that they cannot bear, give them your hand. That means help them. These are the beautiful things in Islam. I remember also a beautiful thing concerning those who work for you. It's a beautiful, small hadith, yet a lot of Muslims, they should be applying it. And I'm free to say that many people do not really observe or apply this hadith. Give the worker his due money, reward, before his sweat will get dry. That means don't delay yourself. Don't postpone giving him his due reward. Going back to another verse of the Quran, and that is chapter called An-Nur, verse 36, where Allah the Almighty says, في بيوت أذن الله أن ترفع ويذكر فيها اسمه يسبح له فيها بالغدو والآصال رجال لا تلهيهم تجارة ولا بيع عن ذكر الله وإقام الصلاة وإيتاء الزكاة يخافون يوما تتقلب فيه القلوب والأبصار. Translation is, in houses which Allah has allowed to be raised and where His name is mentioned, they're offering praise to Him in the morning and the evening, are men whom neither trade nor sale distracts from remembering Allah. Nothing distracts them from remembering Allah. Performing prayers and paying the poor tax, who fear a day when hearts and eyes will be overturned. Chapter An-Nur, verse 36. The trade with Allah is always successful. In a matter of fact, Allah told us, shall I guide you, O you who believe, shall I guide you to a successful trade with Allah? Believe in Allah and the last day, and strive the best of your soul and your wealth for the sake of Allah. This is the successful trade with Allah the Almighty. There is no contradiction between the lively trade, the trades of life, and the trade with Allah the Almighty. In a matter of fact, you can make the trade of your life as an approach to get closer to Allah and to make your trade with Him greater and greater and more successful. We ask Allah the Almighty to let us be truly believers and to let our trade with Him be successful. We did not finish the topic of the descriptions and the attributes of the believer. Be with us on another episode. Thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.